Oh. Hello, Shiver Seekers. Are you ready to follow us into the unknown? I'm Cynthia.
And I'm Stephanie. You found the dark oak. Today, I'm going to take you on an amazing journey through A Nightmare on Elm Street, which I did not fully understand, and I don't think Cynthia did either, that it is based on a true mystery. It actually is based on a real life mystery, which the fact that A Nightmare on Elm Street could be related to anything in reality is terrifying. So join us.
Join us. Before we go any further, I'm going to adjust my mic a little bit because I did a sound check and realized, sorry, I just looked down and was like, I'm not as close to my mic as I was in my sound check. I'm going to be real annoyed if my sound's funky. Okay. Welcome to the Dark Oak, the mystery podcast with purpose. Each month through our charity, the Branch of Hope Foundation, we give a portion of our proceeds from our Patreon and sponsorships. We give that directly to a nonprofit related to the first episode of the month. To find out more, you can stick around to the end of this episode, check out our website, thedarkoak.com, or head over to our Instagram, The Dark Oak Podcast.
Well, hello, everyone. Our last episode of Oaktoberfest. And I've got my favorite Halloween hat on now. I'm gonna come in here for you YouTubers. See?
So cute. A black cat. A black cat is my favorite.
It's a black cat riding a broom. And to be fair, I have not named him yet. I feel like he needs a name. So I'm probably going to be working on that with my kids. I feel like everything in my house has to have a name. It has to have a personality. It has to have a name.
Well, I have a black cat who's my favorite. And
Little
I love
London.
his name. Actually,
Yeah.
London is his. I mean, I love London, but my favorite.
Isn't he the black cat?
I've got two black cats. They're brothers.
Oh.
London is my gorgeous, like, smoky.
Okay.
He's actually it's called a fever coat. He's like black, but his undercoat is like gray, and he's long and furry and precious. I love London, but no, my baby is Jasper.
Jasper, that's right.
Jasper.
So pretty.
Anyway,
You have such pretty kitties. Pretty kitties. Pretty Halloween kitties.
That's right.
Did you ever go through that thing where you were just terrified that your black cats were going to get out and something bad was going to happen to them on Halloween? Okay, so you still go through that, right?
Oh, still. In fact, I was at the pet store the other day picking up fish food, and there was a local cat rescue.
Yeah.
Oops, sorry. A local cat rescue had one of their kittens there at the pet store. And oh my gosh, if I didn't have a house full, I would have taken this kitten home because, of course, he was all black. The cutest little thing. What a personality. But I was like actually worried. I was like, why are we adopting out black cats in October? And hopefully
that used to be a big thing when I was heavily into animal rescue. Like, there were a lot of rescues that wouldn't even adopt out black cats during October. I think a lot of that is probably more myth than anything. We've talked about like the candy, like the poison in the candy or the razor blades in the candy. Like, that doesn't actually happen. There may be some weird esoteric occurrence, and then it just became like this widespread myth about, bad things happening to black cats. If anything, I kind of think they're celebrated a little bit. But I remember when we do have a black cat now, but we used to have a lot because when we did a lot of fostering, we had a ton. And I was so nervous that one of them was going to get out and something bad was going to happen. That's also when I had untreated anxiety. So maybe that had something to do with it. So now that I'm putting two and two together, it was probably less about the superstition, more about my untreated anxiety. But the outcome was the same. I was terrified that my cats were going to get out and something bad was going to happen to them.
Well, I'm terrified about that, just on a daily basis. Just that a cat's gonna, because London, he's an escape artist. He'll go out that front door.
That's why I know him.
Mm-hmm.
That's
every
why
time
I know
Stephanie
him.
comes over, I'm like, okay, you let the cat out, and I didn't even see it.
He's always the one. He's always the one that gets me in trouble, and I'm pretty animal savvy. Like, I'm pretty cat savvy, and he outsmarts me every time. Now, he just follows me up, but he doesn't go anywhere, and Cynthia's
No.
like, "Wait a minute, Stephanie, you and London are hanging outside again together." And she'll come up and scoop him up and take him back outside, and I'm like, "I'm sorry, I'm a bad friend."
It's really Lennon. He's the one who, when we took him to get neutered, they literally, when we picked him up, they were like, so he figured out how to get out of his cage, his
Yep.
kennel, and was literally running around the vet's office. And we had to
I
like
could
catch him.
totally see that.
Yeah,
That
no,
makes
he's
me feel
just,
better,
yeah,
actually.
it's not you. It's London, but
Uh, all right. It's London. It's London. Well, on a personal note, I also wanted to thank, oh my gosh, listeners. We have never not showed up for a week of recording, and it happened this month in our celebration of Oktoberfest, which it was a hard decision for us to get there. A really hard decision. It was not one we took lightly, but guys, I'm now in my third antibiotic for this sinus infection. And to say I have been put through the ringer on this, um, not an understatement. If this particular antibiotic doesn't work, I'm on my way to the ENT to find out why my head is full of gunk and garbage and not feeling so hot. So I am on a ton of meds right now, all prescription meds, and it does seem to be working. Please cross your fingers for me that this third round is the charm. But thank you guys for bearing with me. I have not been very good about posting updates on the Edgar Allan Poe exclusive Patreon giveaway quilt, but it is magnificent. It is amazing. I'm going to post some pictures. And Cynthia, what did we decide as far as picking our winner?
so I will probably, I'll be going on our Patreon. I'll be posting a video of the actual drawing on our Patreon by 6 p.m. this coming Friday, October 31st. So as long as you are a Patreon member by the morning of October 31st, let's say 10, okay? I'll do the drawing sometime after 10 and I'll have the video of it so you can see that it's fair, posted by 6 p.m., probably earlier, but give me till 6 p.m. just in case.
Yeah, we've been getting so much love in the form of social media comments, but then also quite a few new Patreon members. So I don't know if it's just for our content or for the quilt, but
It's your
either way,
quilt. It's your quilt.
I really
Credit where credit's due.
it's very appreciated and very touching. And even if you join just to check us out, we appreciate you. We hope you stick around. You hope you find value and what we're providing and that you love this little community as much as we do. So we really hope that you stick around and again, love what we're doing. We really, really appreciate all the support.
That's right. And this month, our Patreon members get two exclusive Patreon episodes. That's partly why we had to take last week off, is because we really wanted to make sure that we gave our Patreon members the two that we promised them. And we figured, okay, 2 years without missing, you'll forgive us. So
Yes.
So
Yes. And I'm bringing a really good one today, guys.
I'm
So we're going to
excited.
totally make up for it. And even though I've spent most of the last 2 weeks in bed, not able to record, I was able to write. So we've got some good content coming your way. We are not, this is not a normal thing that we're going to be skipping. So we've got some really great things lined up all the way through the end of the year. So you're going to love it.
Exciting.
All right. Are you ready?
Yeah, just don't forget, listeners, there's 2 ways to check us out. You can listen audio wherever you listen to your podcast, and you'll get a nice cleaned up version with the filler words and the coughs edited out. But if you like the behind the scenes deal or just want to look at our pretty faces, you can check us out on YouTube, and you get to see everything that happens from the moment we hit record to the moment we hit end record. Whatever might happen, it's going to be on there. So 2 ways to check us out.
Definitely. Less coughing this time on my part. At least so far. There's always time. There's always time for some coughing attack to sneak up. But so far, I'm feeling much more hopeful about the recording than I have the past 3. So, that's good. I'm feeling
That's
good about that.
good. Yeah, it's a good start.
Exactly. Exactly. All right, guys. Well, we're going to do our final camp story for the year. Our
Yay!
campfire story. Yes. Now, as I've mentioned, all of our campfire stories are coming out of the collection of stories, scary stories to tell in the dark. And I've been selecting some of my childhood favorites to share with you to get you in the spooky mood. So these are certainly stories that you can tell around a campfire, which is why we name them such. But they're also just fun ways you can share them with your family, share them with friends, test out your own storytelling abilities. But just a little funsy, just a little fun. So today, well, wait, let me give full credit here. So the collection is by Alvin Schwartz and the drawings are by Stephen Gamble. So today our selection is called Bess. John Nicholas raised horses. He had many horses of all kinds, but his favorite was Bess, a gentle old mare he had grown up with. He no longer rode her, for all she could do was just amble along. Bess spent her days grazing peacefully in a meadow. That summer, for the fun of it, John Nicholas went into a fortune teller's booth. The fortune teller studied her cards. "I see danger ahead for you," she said. "Your favorite horse will cause you to die. I don't know when, but it will happen. It is in the cards." John Nicholas laughed. The idea that Bess would cause his death was nonsense. She was as dangerous as a bowl of soup. Yet from then on, whenever he saw her, he remembered the fortune teller's warning. That fall, a farmer came from the other end of the county asking if he could have Bess. He had been thinking that the old horse would be perfect for his children to ride. "That's a good idea," John said. "It would be fun for them, and it would give Bess something to do." Later, John told his wife about it. "Now Bess won't kill me," he said, and they both laughed. A few months later, he saw the farmer who had taken her. "How's my Bess?" he asked. "Oh, she was fine for a while," the farmer said. "The children loved her. Then she got sick. I had to shoot her and put her out of her misery. It was a shame." Despite himself, John breathed a sigh of relief. He had often wondered if in some crazy way, through some strange incident, Bess would kill him. Now, of course, she could not. "I'd like to see her," said John, "just to say goodbye. She was my favorite." The bones of the dead horse were in the far corner of the man's farm. John kneeled down and patted Bess's sun-bleached skull. Just then, a rattlesnake, which had made its home inside the skull, sank its fangs into John Nicholas's arm and killed him.
Now the question is, now, because see, these are the kinds of things that like get in my mind. Let's see. Oh, there it is. There's the skull. Mm-mm-mm. Mm-mm-mm.
Okay, so tell me your thoughts, because this
I
is a
have,
story that will stick with you.
yeah, oh yeah, no, I have like these kinds of intrusive thoughts of like, um, should I get in the car and go here? What if I get in a car accident? Maybe I shouldn't. Should I, like, I have like weird intrusive thoughts about like just random everyday choices. Like, I'm going to go to the grocery store and then, I'll get robbed at gunpoint. I don't know, stupid stuff. So my question is, would he have still died because of his favorite horse if he hadn't known? Like, so would he have given her away if he hadn't been given that fortune? Like, would it have still happened? Or was it because of the fortune that he made the choices he made that ended up allowing him to be killed? And
This is
again, none of this
almost
this isn't
like
even a real
parallel of
story, but
like no, but it's almost like parallel of like the butterfly effect, right? Like one thing that
mhm,
leads to another thing that leads to another thing, and you're not sure which thing caused the thing.
mhm.
Um, but in the end, everything, it unfolds the way it's supposed to, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, this one could possibly mean that you never leave your home, even though I don't know, for some reason, I'm having like these urges to go back and watch, um, oh my gosh, the whole series, Final Destination.
Oh, okay. When you were reading it, I was like, oh, it's kind of Final Destination.
Yeah, so like go back and watch all the Final Destinations. And listen,
Mm-hmm.
I know they get worse as they go on. Not that the first one was that great, but
Oh,
um
it was pretty great. And then the second
but
one with the truck.
yes, yes. So, it's parallel of that too, of like, can you escape it if it's coming for you? I mean, when your day is up, like when your number is called, that's it. That's all we have. So, girl, I got to tell you, that's the way I live my life because I don't know when it's going to be. But I'm living every day to the max. And that's all we can do, I think.
Right. Right. Yeah, no, I think in reality, when it's your time, it's your time. I mean, how else can we make
Yep.
peace with all the weird things that happen? So,
Yep.
but
Yep.
man,
That's the truth.
um, hmm, that's a good one. That was a good one.
It is. It is. I'm going to pause briefly for a coughing fit and then I'll be right back with you. Oh, I like how you was that like a sympathy cough as well?
Well, I told you I'm feeling a little something brewing. I'm trying not to speak it into existence. So, yeah, we'll call it a sympathy throat clear.
I like that. I like that. I can roll with that.
Yeah. Mhm.
All right, guys, let's get into it because I think that's all the business we had, right? We've got
Think
the
so.
quilt. Join our Patreon. I guess we got join our Patreon. That's all it takes to be entered in our quilt giveaway.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's it. Be part of our Patreon. And yeah, let's do it.
Let's
All
do
right.
it.
So again, A Nightmare on Elm Street. Now, I'm assuming you have seen this film,
Yes, I
Freddy Krueger.
have. Yes, I
Okay.
have.
I mean, I actually was surprised I didn't know more about this mystery and that I've never even considered adding it in Oktoberfest. I actually even texted you. I said, would it be cliche to talk about A Nightmare on Elm Street during Oktoberfest? And you were like, absolutely not. We have got
Do
to do
it.
it.
Do it.
And then this episode became so interesting to me, I just wrote it. I just kept going because one thing led to another thing, which led to another thing. And I said, this is so fascinating. And I've never heard it covered before.
Well, I did not realize that it was based on I don't think I realized it was based on, like, real cases, a real scenario. Now, it's not my favorite movie, so it's one I've only seen, like, maybe a couple of times. So that might be part of it is that I not even, I haven't even done that much research on the actual movie itself to know that it was based on a true thing. So it's all a surprise for me.
All right. Well, A Nightmare on Elm Street, of course, came out in 1984, which also 1984. How is that possible? It feels
I know.
like
Well,
it's
yeah.
not that old, like
And
us.
wasn't this was like Johnny Depp's big, like, wasn't this like one of the first Johnny Depp movies ever, like, big mainstream?
You got it. I actually wrote it in
Oh,
my notes here. So Johnny Depp in the film. So I'll go over, just briefly the plot of the film. But Johnny Depp plays a character named Glenn, and this wound up being Johnny Depp's like original film debut.
yeah.
Which what a claim!
Well, and his
Original
scene
film
his
debut.
scene is, like, the one scene in the movie I remember, probably because it's Johnny Depp, I remember everything Johnny Depp does, but, you know.
I've figured out, at least in the last 5 years, Johnny Depp is kind of a very polarizing character. I don't know. I fell in love with him when all the pirate movies. Like, I find him kind of debonair. I mean, I know he's weird. I mean, I get all that. But there are some people that are just completely turned off by Johnny Depp. So,
Really? I mean, I
yeah.
I think if you believe that he's an abusive person, then that makes sense. I personally don't believe those claims about him. If I did, that would change. So for that reason, people don't like him, or just because he's weird, people don't like him.
I think it's because he's possibly abusive. I think because he's weird. And then I think some people just don't think he's aging well. Like literally just attraction level. Um but
Oh, Johnny Depp on
I
his
don't
worst
know.
day is still Johnny Depp.
Girl, I agree with you. I agree with you. So
Char-
I'm in that camp.
Here's the thing. Charm will get you anywhere. Like charm, and he's charming. Now I like the weird. I like a weirdo. So, that goes far for me, but I don't know. I don't care what you look like. You be a charming character and yeah, that's hot.
He does. There's something about it. There's like that twinkle in his eye that I'm I'm down for.
Yeah.
So, maybe it's just the pirate movies in general because I am also an Orlando Bloom fan.
Okay.
So, I
Maybe you
mean,
just like a
I
pirate.
dig that.
The pirate aesthetic.
I I may. Uh
That's your thing.
I may. That might just be my thing. Maybe I just like anybody who plays a buccaneer. Maybe that's
Okay.
just my thing.
All right.
And I could be okay with that. Because I do think it's because those men are very different in their aesthetic and their mannerisms and the way they conduct themselves, very
Yeah.
different. Yet I'd be okay with sitting next to either of them.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go. Little insight.
There we go. Learn something new
All right.
about Stephanie.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, so back on track. A Nightmare on Elm Street. Now, in case you have been living in Iraq and you haven't seen this, you have to watch it. Classic
Mhm.
Halloween movie. You've got to watch it. But it was written and directed by Wes Craven, and it's responsible for the introduction of our favorite iconic slasher villain, Freddy Krueger. Now, the movie was set in a fictional town in Springwood, Ohio, and it follows a group of teenagers, Nancy, Tina, Rod, and Glenn. Again, Glenn played by Johnny Depp. And all these teenagers are stalked in their dreams by Freddy Krueger. Do you hear the cat scratching?
Mhm.
All right, Lucy, stop scratching. So Freddy is a burned man with a bladed glove who begins to kill the teens. But the plot twist in the movie is that the deaths mirror the violent attacks perpetrated by Freddy in their dreams. And the ceiling scene is one of the most iconic. I'm not going to give away like a ton of spoilers, but these are terrifying. I mean, these are terrifying scenes, the way these kids go. And as more teens die, one of the teens, Nancy, discovers that Freddy was a child murderer in real life that was killed by vengeful parents. But now he's returned as a dream dwelling entity to kill their children. Now, at the end of the movie, Nancy confronts Freddy in the dream world, which pulls him into reality where she ultimately defeats him. Or maybe not, because as we know, he's definitely not gone, and there are definitely sequels. But the way that Wes Craven was able to blend the supernatural elements and like the old slasher images really made this like a landmark horror movie. Nothing like this had ever been produced before. Now, the movie was such a hit that it went on to inspire not only a whole Freddy Krueger franchise, but also inspired more recent movies like The Cell, which was released in
Hmm.
2000, Inception, which, if you think about it,
Oh.
it's
Mhm.
not a
Mhm.
slasher film, but the idea of manifesting things in your dreams. So,
Mhm.
Inception was released in 2010, Insidious was released in
Mm.
2010, and a true nightmare of a movie, The Babadook, which was released in 2014.
I
Yes, we
remember.
did. Yes, we did. And I don't know, something about I know they're all fake, but the weird noises that these entities make,
Babadook.
that
Yeah.
"Babadook."
Yeah.
But that was all inspired by this dream-induced reality that Wes Craven brought to light, which is pretty cool, pretty
Oh,
cool.
sure.
But, again, we were both surprised to realize that Wes Craven eventually revealed in 2008 that A Nightmare on Elm Street was inspired by true events. And it's also very interesting to note that these true events have never been fully explained. So,
Mm.
somewhere between 1977 and 1979, a young male Cambodian refugee escaping the fall of, I'm going to say this correctly, Phnom Penh in 1975 settled in Los Angeles, California. Now, we've referenced some historical atrocities over our years of podcasting, and this is definitely one of them. So, as a brief history lesson, the Cambodian genocide occurred under. Hang on. I wrote down my pronunciation, but I want to make sure I'm getting it correctly. Because, we do our best, don't we?
We do.
And this guy was such a jerk that I want to make sure I'm saying his name correctly so that we can all boo and hiss whenever we hear his name. All right. Khmer Rouge. So the Cambodian genocide, again, occurred under Khmer Rouge, and it was his regime which lasted from 1975 to 1979. And it started because the new regime aimed to create a farming or agrarian community, like basically a communist community. And they decided to do this, though, by forcibly evacuating cities, abolishing money, and killing anybody that didn't think these new ideas were great. So somehow they just said, we're going to be a farming community. Everybody grows their own food. There's basically no such thing as a society anymore. Like everybody fend for themselves. Very strange. Now, it was so bad that certain cities were later labeled as the killing fields because of the enormous, they basically became enormous evacuation. They basically became enormous execution sites with thousands of victims buried in mass graves. Targeted groups included intellectuals and professionals like teachers, doctors, lawyers, students, and anyone with an education or ties to the former government. Crazy enough, these targeted groups were often identified, I'm using air quotes, identified by the new regime because of their, quote, glasses or soft hands, end quote.
Oh, okay. All right. Mm-hmm.
So basically, if you weren't already a farmer, you're done.
Mm-hmm.
You're out.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you have great ideas, even if you're actually helping society, you're out because you don't know how to grow rice.
And I'm assuming it's whole families. So, like, if you don't like the parents, you're going to, kill the children as well and the elderly and just that kind of thing.
It's everything awful. Everything awful. Exactly. Urban dwellers or city residents were labeled as new people, and many died in forced labor camps or executions. Ethnic minorities and political enemies were systematically targeted, and possibly saddest of all, just ordinary Cambodians died in droves because of this insanity. Over these 4 years, estimates suggest that 1.5 to 2 million people, about a quarter of Cambodia's population, died from execution, starvation, forced labor, or disease. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. So going back to our original story, this Cambodian refugee who was described as being in his late teens and early 20s was a survivor of unimaginable trauma. So he escaped Cambodia and his family escaped to Thailand. So they stayed in several Thailand refugee camps before he wound up resettling in the United States. And honestly, who knows what he saw at these refugee camps as well. I mean, you've already seen horrible massacres in front of your own eyes. But then these refugee camps are full of people who just have PTSD and are just reeling as well. And you're in a new country. Not only did you go from Cambodia to Thailand, but now you're in the United States. I
Mhm.
can't even imagine the upheaval of your life.
Right.
So, as you can imagine, it was all but impossible for this young man to come through all of these events unscathed. And upon his arrival to the US, he reported that he was constantly plagued by vivid, terrifying nightmares, which, let's be real, they were likely flashbacks to the genocide. However, these vivid dreams included visions of being chased or attacked by shadowy figures. These dreams were so distressing that he became deathly afraid of falling asleep, believing that
Mm.
he would be killed in his sleep and never wake up. According to reports, the man stayed awake for days at a time, resisting sleep until he finally just was overtaken. Like exhaustion just put him to sleep. Then one night, after finally succumbing to sleep, he suddenly died in his bed. Now, I've seen it reported that he died quietly in his sleep, and I've also seen it reported that his family members heard him making like groaning or gasping sounds. So take your pick on that. I'm not really sure on the reporting. But either way, he was just dead. And again, he's a healthy young man.
Mhm.
However, we do know that an autopsy found there were no signs of an external struggle or violence. There were no structural heart abnormalities, and the toxicology report was clean. The coroner suspected cardiac arrhythmia, but the death was otherwise unexplained. Now, because of the bizarre circumstances, the story was reported in several publications, including the Los Angeles Times, with headlines like Mysterious Fatal Malady Striking Hmong Men and Night Deaths of Asian Men Unexplained. Now, Hmong simply refers to a group of people living in a mountain village near Southeast Asia. So this man was Cambodian and Hmong, just a way of explanation. So he was from Cambodia, but he was among the Hmong group, if that makes sense. So that's the reason for
Mhm.
that
Mhm.
headline.
Okay.
Now, Wes Craven, who lived in LA at the time, read these stories and was immediately hooked by the blend of this man's like psychological terror and his bizarre unexplained death. Then Wes Craven went on to find out that this Cambodian refugees' experience was not isolated. As it turned out, it was a full-on epidemic.
That's what's wild. I know you're gonna tell
Yes,
us more, but is it, like, all from the same group of people, the same community of people?
it is, and I'll get more into
Mm.
that. Um, but just to know that that happened is wild. So
It's
wild.
wild.
Now, now reports of what this Cambodian man experience were rumored to have happened even decades earlier. But it wasn't until after the 1970s that the CDC began investigating deaths and illnesses for refugees. So at that time, the
Okay.
CDC was only investigating weird things that would happen for US citizens. It
Mhm.
wasn't until this time that there was a push to say, hey, these people are locating here, settling here. We need to know what's going on. And I think that's for their protection, but also for US citizens, right? Like we should know if there's some new illness or, something, a disease that we need to know about. But when they
Sure.
started documenting cases, it was shocking because in the United States during the late 70s and 80s, the CDC documented over 100 cases of Hmong, Laotian, and Cambodian refugees dying under these suspicious circumstances. Now, victims were mostly male, and they all died between the hours of midnight and 4 a.m.
Oh, I just got chills. That's weird.
Isn't
'Cause I'm
that
thinking, like,
weird?
okay, obviously there's some kind of, like, disease or something that we don't know how to test for, like, but that's weird. Like,
Isn't that weird? It's
yeah.
so weird. Now, the individuals had no prior medical history, and their autopsies revealed no structural heart defects, toxins, or trauma.
Wonder if there's,
For
like, some kind of
example,
parasite or something.
well, the CDC started testing for everything. I'll give you a few more cases
Mhm.
that they were able to identify, and then I'll tell you what they found.
Okay.
There is a bit of a scientific explanation that we know now, but we
Mm.
still don't really understand it. We still don't really understand how or why it happens. So
Okay. I'm
another example
very
that
curious.
Yeah, so another example that the CDC was able to pull up was one from 1970, and it was a 33-year-old Filipino man who died in his sleep after having a heavy meal. Now, he had no history of heart disease or seizures. His death was suspected to have occurred around 3 a.m. His family reported he was making distressing noises throughout the night, and early studies speculated acute pancreatitis, but the autopsy revealed nothing, no pancreatic or cardiac issues. So, again, just an unexplained death of an otherwise healthy individual. Then in 1977, one of the first 12 Laotian refugee cases was reported. A male in his late 20s who was living in California died suddenly at night. His family reported he had no prior symptoms, and in fact, he was celebrating and ate a heavy rice based meal before bed. Once again, though, others in the house reported hearing gurgling sounds coming from the man's bed right before his death. An autopsy showed no cause of death. His heart and organs were completely normal, and the toxicology test was negative.
Let me ask you this. Were there like US citizens dying from the same kind of thing at the same time? Is it literally just it's literally just these refugees?
Just the refugees.
Hmm. Okay, so that tells us something. I don't know what, but it tells us something.
Well, and the CDC thought the exact same thing. I mean, they were basically stumped on our side, in our country, but they've started to see the pattern, like you're seeing.
Mhm.
Like, okay, these are all from men originating from this area of the world under these circumstances. So let's see if we can figure something out here. But they needed to be able to even explain what it is they were investigating. So they came up with the term sudden unexplained nocturnal death syndrome.
Okay,
That is
kind of
an
like
ac
SIDS.
a bit like SIDS, yes. So there is a sudden unexplained death syndrome, more similar to SIDS, but then this one added in the sudden unexplained nocturnal death syndrome, identifying that all the victims died between that midnight and 4 a.m. time frame. So they call it SUNDS, which is actually
Okay.
very hard to pronounce in a
Sun
podcast. SUNDS, so it's
sun.
SUNDS.
Oh, suns.
So
Ooh,
SUNS, so sudden unexplained nocturnal death syndrome, but again, SUNS. It's a
yeah.
lot it's a
Mhm.
lot of
Yeah.
consonants all in one. So I will do my best to continue to say that well. I don't know how great I'm going to do though. So just know that's what I'm saying, SUNS. And they tried to identify this to again encapsulate what they're even witnessing. Like, what are we even investigating here?
Right.
But this is what they use as like the broad umbrella to say, to try to include or exclude cases that may help them identify what was happening to these men. Now, during their investigation into what I will call the happening, they looked into the direction of Southeast Asia, again, where the men originated. Now, they were hoping to find some kind of genetic or cultural link to these sudden deaths, but instead of direct answers, they were led into a world of dark and mysterious folklore. Now, because of this
Mm.
region, SUNS is often attributed to supernatural causes such as spirits or demons.
So it's happening a lot there too. It's not just the refugees who came here, it's also happening to men who stayed there.
It's happening. I would not say it's happening a lot.
Okay.
It's happening, but not a lot.
Not as much
And
as is happening here. Okay.
correct, correct.
Hmm.
Because we're talking in like a very short period, like, and I think it was like 1980 to 1982. It was there was like 50 cases. I mean,
Right.
like a
Right.
lot happening here.
Mhm.
But when the CDC started researching, like in the Philippines, for example, there are instances of these circumstances being locally observed as far back as 1917.
Mm.
And in the Philippines, it became known as bagunat, which means to arise and moan or simply nightmare.
Ooh. Ooh, more chills because it's happening at night. Even there, it's happening at night. That
Yep.
is so
Now,
weird.
in in Filipino mythology, this Bangu knot is often attributed to supernatural causes, such as the batibat, who is a vengeful, obese, tree-dwelling hag or demon that sits on the chest of sleeping men, inducing suffocation and nightmares. This entity is said to target those who sleep near fallen trees, which are known as strangler figs. Now, these trees with this funny name are used regularly in house construction in the Philippines. So they've got a funny name. When I was like, strangler figs, what the heck?
I like it.
They get the
Kinda cute.
yeah. Well, they get the name because it's almost like a parasitic vine, if you will. So it grows
Mhm,
on like host trees. So it's a
mhm.
strangler fig. But the tree itself isn't necessarily scary. However, its inclusion in this story is just so fitting, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, folklore remedies to ward off the batibat include wiggling a toe to break the spell, biting one's finger, or drinking water before bed to ward off the spirit.
Okay.
In Thailand, it is called lei tai, which translate to death by sleep or simply sleep death. Like, these are terrifying, Cynthia. These are terrifying.
It is, and then at the same time, I mean, obviously, it sounds like it's actually a bit of a violent death. It's not necessarily peaceful.
Yeah.
But, most people are like, "Oh, I hope I die in my sleep." I mean, I guess in that way, but again, this doesn't sound peaceful, so I retract that
Well,
thought.
and again, I think the idea of dying in your sleep happens when you're like old and you've lived like a full,
Sure.
fulfilling life, not like in your 20s, you know?
Sure. Of course, of course.
Yeah. Now, in Lei Tai, Pai Mei Mai, or the widow ghost, is described as a widow who died during childbirth or under tragic circumstances, such as being abandoned or betrayed. And in Thai belief, such spirits linger in the mortal world, seeking retribution or companionship. So that's how they explain why this entity is still here with us in the mortal world. The story goes that the spirit targets healthy young men as a beautiful woman, seducing these men in their dreams. Now, once the victim falls asleep, the spirit claims them. And this is actually a big distinction because it's not like the spirit just kills them, like the spirit takes them out of their body, claims them, and this
Okay.
causes their heart to stop, or for them to suffocate. And sometimes, if she needs to, she will sit on their chest. She will sit on their chest to literally steal their breath or their soul. Whichever is more convenient, I suppose. Um, Terrifying.
Where
The
does she
cultural
take them?
narrative.
Or,
Um, well, we're not exactly sure. Somewhere to the spirit world. She
Okay.
takes them to the spirit world. And again,
But it's
this
evil.
idea
It's
of
evil?
it is evil because she seduces them. However, there could be, it's almost like a mixed bag because it's this woman that was left alone. And so she's trying to find her companion. So she's
Okay.
evil for the fact that she's taking you, but she's trying to do it because of this like unresolved issue in her own life, like when she was
Okay.
alive.
Mm.
Um and again, this idea of being taken, the story goes that because you're being seduced by this spirit, you are powerless. Like if she decides to take you, she's just gonna take you, and you have no chance of resisting falling asleep. Like she will enchant you into sleep, and then she will take you to the spirit world. And she is said, though, to target young men who neglect their spiritual duties, break cultural taboos, or even offend their ancestors.
So she has a
So,
type. Okay.
She has a type. Also a bit of a cautionary tale. Just saying, respect your elders, or else the widow witch, the widow ghost is going to come and take you to the underworld. So
Mhm. Mhm.
note it. Note it. Note it, young men. Get it
Mhm.
together. Get it together. Now, I'm joking, but this is taken very seriously in Thailand. This is
Yeah.
not a
Oh,
joking
sure.
thing. And to repel this widow ghost, families offer food, incense, and prayers at household shrines to appease these spirits. Monks or shamans may also perform exorcisms or blessings if they think that the widow ghost is near their home. Some men also wear sacred charms or tattoos to ward off these evil spirits. There is a thought that if you avoid heavy meals or alcohol at night, might help to ward off the spirits. Also, keeping a light on would help to deter attacks. And lastly, some believe that if you avoid ever sleeping on your back, it will prevent the ghost from sitting on your chest and killing you. So if you only sleep on your stomach or on your side, like, you're safe because she can't steal your breath,
Okay.
which seems logical to me.
Yeah. Are you a side sleeper, a stomach sleeper, or back sleeper?
Oh, side for sure.
Okay.
Side for sure. So I would pass.
You'd be fine.
Also, I'm not a man. Yeah, I'm
Right.
not a man. But I think I would pass. I don't
Okay.
know. The idea of sleeping like flat on my back is just, I mean, I had to do it after I had my cesarean sections, and it was the most awful thing I've ever experienced. So
Right. Right. I go through phases. I go through phases. Sometimes I am a back sleeper.
okay.
So, but it's
Are
a
you
phase.
do you snore?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so.
So my husband Barton snores, and I've noticed it's absolutely the worst when he's sleeping on his back. So I know he will fall asleep on his back for sure.
Mhm.
I just don't allow him to stay there.
Yeah.
Uh, for the health and well-being of our family,
Yeah.
I make him turn on his side, and normally that takes care of the issue. But I'm like, no, sir, no, sir, we will not be doing that.
Right.
Um, Roll over.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I'll have to ask Andy. Now, I know Andy would say I snore just because Andy snores, and so when I give him a hard time, he'll say it. But I don't think I actually do. But who knows? I'm asleep. I
My
don't know.
I've been told in all sincerity, mine's just more of like a heavy breathing. It's not
Yeah.
an actual snore, like, there's no rattling, it's
Right.
just you're sleeping. Like, you
Right.
make
Yeah.
noise when you sleep, right?
Yeah.
Now, I don't know, with this head cold I've been having and this sinus infection, who knows what noises I have been making.
All kinds of
Luckily, Barton
rattling.
Oh my gosh, I can only imagine. Barton has been very kind and has not called me out for any of it, which I appreciate. Last night, though, I did wake up literally coughing directly into his face, which I felt so terrible about. I was just, and of course, I'm sleeping as I'm coughing, so I'm not covering or anything. I'm
Sure.
just like,
Yeah.
ah, like
Oh.
right. Oh my gosh. And it's like, and I had already been sleeping for a few hours. So then I'm like, do I have disgusting breath? It's like the whole thing as I'm like, I'm sure there was saliva, the whole thing. I was like, this is, Barton and I have this phrase because we've been through a lot in our marriage, and things that most of them were completely out of our control. We have just experienced a lot as a couple. Excuse me. We've experienced a lot as a couple. And after we come out of one of those periods of our life, I mean, we just look at each other and say, we are so married. Like, we could not be more married than we are right now because we've seen so many things together. And I
Mhm.
feel like in so many ways, we could never, ever be married to other people at this stage in our life because no one would understand like what we've
Right.
gone through. Like, no one can relate to each other the way that we do, having
Right.
gone through the journey that we've gone through. But yeah, we just say our phrase is, we are so married.
That's cute. I like
And
that.
yeah, and so anyway, I felt like last night I was like, "We are so married." Like, I am just hawking, like, in your face right now, and you're just like, "Yeah, I mean, we're so married." Like, this is just how it
Ah!
is.
And somehow not quite always the fairy tale we thought being married would be, right?
Well, no. I mean, nor is life, to be frank. There's
Truth.
a lot more ups and downs. A lot less quicksand than I thought there was going to be. I don't know. That was one of my biggest fears as a kid. Haven't experienced a lot of quicksand, even though you and I did survive a flood last night.
Oh my gosh. In real life, y'all, like roads washed away. Wild. I have no water right now. Water main's broken. Well, we have water, but it's brown.
Ugh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I know you have a boil water advisory right now. I wouldn't even boil that stuff.
No,
I would
you
not.
can't. It's not going to make it not brown.
Mm-mm.
So it's been a rough
Gosh.
morning.
Yeah, and
Thankfully,
it's
we had
weird
some
too.
bottled water, but most of my bottled water I put in the freezer because, like, in preparation for like hurricanes,
Like outings.
So yeah, so I don't have a lot of not frozen water. And after this experience, I was like, I just probably need to keep like a gallon of water here.
Well, I will say it's very atypical for us to have water issues or even electrical issues at this point. We're very fortunate, being in Florida. Just hear me out, Cynthia, because I know you're like, I don't know about that. But um, these electric companies have gotten really smart because they don't want to have to go out for emergency calls after hurricanes. And so most of our electrical power lines are now underground. And so we really don't have a tremendous amount of power outages like we used to. We used to have them all
Sure.
the time. We really don't have as many. And we really don't have a lot of water issues.
Right.
But the problem is the water table got so high, I just think it wound up flooding all of these sanitation centers. What's wild, though, is they were just predicting regular old thunderstorms yesterday, and then it literally turned into a flash flood situation. I saw reports, the last I saw was there was about 18 inches of water dropped in our immediate area. That's insane.
At least, because we just installed a water garden. So it's just like a big pot with fish in it.
Okay.
And I was out there 6 times last night, almost emptying it completely because I was so worried it was going to overflow and my fish were going to run out. And I emptied it 6 times, like almost emptied it 6 times. It's huge. It's like a 50-gallon thing. And every time I went out there, it was literally overflowing. So I don't know how many inches that is.
I did the same thing with some of my farm animals. So particularly we have some little young, like flightless chicks, like they're in a protected area, but they nest on the ground. And so I had to get them all up because it wasn't flooding necessarily in the runs, but there were like little rivers like running through the runs. And so I got them up. And then on my side yard is where we keep our sulcata tortoise, and his whole area flooded, and he's a tortoise, so he breathes air, like he's not aquatic. So I ran out to go get him, and so he normally sleeps in this particular area at night, and so that's where I went first to get him, and I stepped in there because it was so dark. All this happened overnight as well.
And pouring rain.
Yeah, and so I went to step into his enclosure, and the water came up to my knee.
Oh my gosh, yes,
And
yes.
I had
probably
a complete
were so
panic
worried.
attack. I did. I was so worried. And so I'm literally like in the mucky, murky, like trying to feel for him.
Because he
'Cause
can't
he's pretty
swim.
sizable. No, he's pretty sizable. He's like the size of a dinner plate. And so I kept expecting to feel him. And then I was like, okay, Stephanie, don't panic. He's very smart. And so I was like, try to find any high ground. And sure enough, there was one corner opposite of where he normally sleeps at night. And he had gotten his head like up in the corner. And so I was able to scoop him up, and we have a little area where he can stay like inside.
Mm-hmm.
So we got him inside and got him a bunch of turnip greens, and he's totally fine. But if I had not thought to go out there, I don't know that it would have been the same circumstance. So anyway, crazy here. So that is a total segue, but that is also our lives right now. Cynthia has no water. and I cannot leave my house because
Yeah.
while my house is fine, every around it is flooded. So,
People have probably seen it on the news. I mean, it's Lake County, Florida, and it's already like
yeah.
all over. But cars are literally like our main roads, our main like big roads. Um, I mean, the water cars are underwater.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah. So
I
we're
didn't
talking like
sleep a lot last night, so I'm
no.
having a hard time putting
No.
words together.
No, like
But
our whole downtown and also like our major highways that go through
mhm,
our areas are flooded.
completely.
Yeah, I got the text message that it literally just came through. So the name of my city said my city the city roads are now closed. Mm, what does that mean? Because I kept getting all the national weather warnings like
Yeah,
flash flooding, but we get that with every rainstorm. So I
yeah.
was kind of like blowing it off a little. And then it said city roads now closed. And that's when I went, wait a minute. Wait a gosh darn minute. What is
Mhm,
happening right now? And then I went on, I have that Ring doorbell
mhm.
neighborhood service, and I started seeing people posting pictures of their houses underwater.
Yeah.
And
I had a
oh
friend
my
kayaking in
gosh,
his backyard. Literally
I
took his
believe it.
kayak out in the backyard. Yeah. And then, sinkholes are opening up because the rain makes sinkholes open up. That's my irrational fear, is
Yeah.
sinkholes. And literally, I mean, yeah, it's crazy around here today. So,
It is a little wild, but
and we're still bringing you an episode. Go us.
we're here. We are here. Oh my gosh. Okay, so going back, so I did just have a few more little tidbits from the Thai understanding of this SUNDS syndrome. But if in some situation a member of your family is careless and does die from this lay tie widow ghost scenario, the village will hold communal ceremonies to restore the spiritual balance and prevent further attacks.
Okay. They really take it serious. I
Uh-huh.
remember with the Thai
Absolutely.
cave rescue, speaking of flash floods, the Thai cave rescue episode we covered, there was a big, a lot of attention paid to, like, the spirituality of it. They're very, very big on their spiritual beliefs.
Yep. Yep. And this is no exception. And I see why you would want to find an explanation for this.
Sure. Well, and hey, we don't have any other explanation, so I haven't ruled out this widow yet. I mean,
Fair enough.
yeah.
Fair enough. The last major belief attributed to this actually comes out of Japan. And this phenomenon of the taking or the dying in the sleep is explained through kanaba. Give me a minute. Kanashibari.
Oh,
There we
okay.
go. Kanashibari,
That's
which is a
pretty.
Japanese term for sleep paralysis. Now, this is attributed to spirits sitting on the victim's chest, suffocating them, or draining their life force. And these spirits are often tied to unresolved grievances or desiccated graves.
Oh.
Now, in some tales, spirits or other supernatural creatures are blamed for possessing or cursing the individual, which leads to their sudden death. But in the end, ultimately, it's failing to honor ancestors through Shinto or Buddhist rituals, such as neglecting offerings at the family altar, or in some way not, again, honoring your ancestors that could invite spiritual attacks, manifesting as nightmares or death. Now, just like in the Thai belief, to ward off spirits, families place talismans or Buddhist sutras near beds or at home entrances, and sleeping in specific positions or avoiding sleeping alone in a room is thought to reduce vulnerability to spiritual attacks. And regular offerings at the family altar and honoring the dead are seen as essential to appeasing spirits and preventing these curses. So, back to the CDC and our more
Mhm.
scientific study of what's happening here. They again were seeking to define what this is. So, after they looked into Southeast Asia, they gathered what information they could there. They further define sudden unexplained nocturnal death syndrome as the sudden and unexpected death of apparently healthy individuals, predominantly young adult males, that occur during sleep at night. It is diagnosed by exclusion after a thorough post-mortem investigation, including autopsy, historical examination, toxicology, and review of medical history. And all these basically rule out all the other known causes of death and disease. And victims are typically found in bed with no signs of struggle. And in witness cases, they may exhibit agonal breathing, which is that breathing right before death, groaning, or limb movements shortly before death. So essentially, the case remained unsolved.
Yeah. Do we have any theories?
Well, in the 1990s, when toxicology and genetic testing became more widely developed, scientists began to identify a genetic disease which may contribute to these sudden nocturnal deaths. It's called the Brugada syndrome. Now, Brugada syndrome is a genetic cardiac arrhythmia prevalent in Southeast Asian populations. It predominantly affects healthy young males in their 20s to 40s and also seems to mostly affect blue-collar workers like farmers, laborers, or construction workers from low socioeconomic backgrounds. I also find that so strange. Like, how do genetic disorders know what profession you're in?
I know. I was thinking, I don't know, do genetic disorders, are they kind of like awakened or exacerbated by like physical activity and stuff like that? Like being out in the
Well,
sun or being hard on your heart or those kinds of things?
possibly, not really. None of my data pointed to that. What I do think is, in a lot of these these Asian countries, there's much more of like a caste system. Like you stay within your socioeconomic
Mhm,
group.
mhm,
It's not like here in the United States where, we can kind of fluctuate.
mhm.
So I think maybe that's it. Maybe if this is a genetic disorder,
Oh.
you're producing within that same genetic pool. So that's what I attributed it to. I didn't see anything specifically to say that, but
You're
that's
very
kind of,
smart. I wouldn't have thought of that,
well,
but that makes sense.
well, that's my guess. Like that's my best stab at it. Now, epidemic research evolved from epidemiological
Whoa. Mayday, mayday.
research evolved from epidemiological studies. I can do it.
You
I
did it.
can do it. I can do it. The amount of drugs on board are inhibiting my speech. However, epidemiological. Okay, I did it once. You can't expect me to do it more than once. Epidemiological. Yeah, you know what I mean. Studies in the 20th century to genetic investigations. So basically, all that to say, there were further genetic investigations that started in 2002. And
Okay.
what they realized was there was a link. It's kind of an offshoot of this Brugada syndrome. So they were studying it more to figure out, okay, so we recognize there's some kind of mutation and we think it's causing these nocturnal deaths, but we have no idea how it does it or why it does it. Right? So
Right.
further testing in the early 2000s linked the mutation to an ion channel. So basically, a mutation in this SCN5 gene, which encodes a sodium channel in the heart cells, has a malfunction. Then this disrupts electrical signals, potentially causing fatal ventricular fibrillation during sleep. So, factors that could lead to this malfunction are electrolyte imbalances, such as a heavy carbohydrate meal before bed, like rice or noodles. That could cause hypoglycemia, thereby depleting cardiac electrolytes and triggering arrhythmias.
Okay.
So, all that to say, they think that the electric transmitters in the heart may just not be as hardy as they need to. And things that they can do, such as alcohol, such as heavy meals, can basically interrupt these electric signals, which causes their heart not to beat correctly.
Okay, that makes sense.
It does. It would also explain why there was no real sign of damage to the heart, because it's not a mechanical failure. The heart is
Right.
not failing. It's the electric signals.
Sure,
My
sure.
problem with this, though, is again, it's kind of just exclusionary. You can't
Well,
say, "Oh,
sure.
this is definitely what caused it."
Right.
Um, and again, if you think back to the stories that we've talked about, other significant triggers could include post-traumatic stress from witnessing a genocide and, the stress of like relocating to a new country.
But
Now,
yes.
right?
Well, and even having like something genetically wrong with your heart. I mean, these people have been through the ringer. So they're probably not getting the nutrition they need, the care they need, like all of it. All of it combined. So you have this genetic thing going on, but then you're in this really like unsafe environment. Like you're not, your body's probably all kinds of weakened in all kinds of ways. These poor people.
And as we know, mental stress, PTSD, manifests physically. We know
Mhm.
this now. This is scientifically proven. Things that happen in your brain affect you physically. They can weaken your muscles. They can get you off balance. They can cause soreness. They can cause joint pain. It can cause cancer.
Yeah.
Things that happen in your brain can cause maladies in your body. Now, this one, though, I do find, I believe Brugada syndrome exists. I believe they found this genetic mutation. But again, the fact that it's exclusionary, you know what I mean? You can't point to it and say,
Yeah.
okay, that was it.
Right. It's
It's
still not a
basically, it's a catch-all. It's a catch-all for the things that they can't fully explain.
You got fuzzy
Now,
all of a sudden.
oh,
Sorry, all of a sudden you got fuzzy, but we're still recording, so I just wanna make sure we didn't lose our recording.
no, I don't
Alright,
think so.
okay,
I don't think so. I still see you.
okay.
Um, yeah, I think we're okay.
I'll be curious to see what the video looks like. Sorry to interrupt you, I just
Yeah.
all of a sudden you got, like, really fuzzy. You still are.
No, you're fine. Well,
Okay.
honestly, I have to tell you, I'm kind of shocked that we still have internet. I kept waiting for the internet to go down
Knock on
last
wood, knock
night.
on wood. We have one more to
I
record today. This is the only day we can do it.
know. Exactly. So I was kind of surprised that we have like internet that's functioning as well as it is. So anyway, guys, if we get a little warbly or fuzzy, it's because we're literally like in like a flood zone.
We
Um,
yeah. We
literally.
should we should
So
post some pictures. If we can post some pictures on our I saw one that I was like, I cannot believe, and it's like, 2 streets down from my house. I don't know if you've seen the
yes.
one I'm talking about, where under the bridge where it got I
Oh
mean,
no,
there's
I haven't seen
literally
the one
no
on the
road.
bridge.
Yeah, yeah. I'll send
Oh.
you the
I
picture.
just there are some houses not too far from us that are, like, underwater.
Yeah,
They're
it's
kind of a more, like, low-lying area to start with,
mhm.
um, and honestly, they're so back in the woods, I was like, "I don't even know how they got out," because, again, this was such a literally, like, flash rainfall type
There's
scenario, and it's pitch black.
there was no warning at all, no warning. We were like, "It looks like it's gonna rain," and then it just
Yep,
started raining,
it
and it
never
was
stopped.
a heavy rain and never stopped.
Yep, that's pretty much it. That's pretty
Wow.
much it.
Mhm.
Now, back to this Brugada syndrome. It's rare outside of Southeast Asian groups, but the condition has been known to affect about 1 in 2,000 to 1 in 5,000 people. So it's
Okay.
definitely out there.
It is
Now,
out there.
crazy enough, there's still no way, again, for an autopsy to conclusively determine if someone died from Brugada syndrome because, again, there's nothing structural to see. The
Right.
deaths are, again, diagnosed postmortem even to this day, and coroners attribute an electrical instability rather than a mechanical failure, like I was explaining before.
Yeah, that
Now,
makes
at
sense
risk,
because once the heart stops, you can't check the electricity of it. It
right,
stopped.
it
Okay.
stopped.
Sorry, I have to,
Exactly.
like, really dumb it down for me to, like,
No, no,
paint
please
the
do, because
picture.
it's kind of it's a big concept to wrap your head around, all the things
Yeah.
that could go wrong. And then, again, I believe this syndrome exists, but there again, you kind of have to go by faith a little bit, right? And so how do you know that's they necessarily died from this? Because again, it's a bit of a catch-all,
Right.
right?
Right.
Now, at-risk individuals can be screened through a genetic test for this SCN5 mutation. And in living relatives of victims, genetic screening has identified Brugada patterns in up to 20 to 30% of cases. So, but
Those are
again,
pretty high.
Brugada patterns,
Right. Right.
not definitive black and white causes. Now,
I
unfortunately, go ahead.
I find it interesting that the deaths all happened between 12 and like 4 a.m., I think you said, because
Yep.
are that doesn't really make sense to me, because if it's just an electrical thing with the heart when you're sleeping, some people might work nights. So they're sleeping during the day. Or you could be like my husband and take a nap any chance you get, and so like why even only 12 to 4? That's only like half of a night. That's very weird to me.
We don't know. Honestly, we still don't know. That's one of the unsolved parts of this. So, like, we have pieces that can help explain some of it, but we truly don't know. We really don't know. I mean, again, there's this idea of like eating a heavy meal might cause this, this electrolyte imbalance, but we really don't know. We really don't know.
Right.
And again, why is it always in the middle of the night?
But a very
It's
short period of the middle, only 4 hours of the middle of the night. It's not even from
right.
like 10 to 7 or 10 to 6. It's midnight to 4 a.m. all over the world.
Yep.
Those hours, those 4 hours. That's weird.
And I find if I was in this high risk category, how do you not have a good deal of fear? I mean, even though I'm not superstitious, I may be completing some of these superstitious requirements just because, I mean, the idea of you're just in this, this genetic age category and you could just die in your sleep.
Yeah.
That's
That's wild.
terrifying.
Yeah. No, it is. I mean, sleep is literally meant to be a time of rest. I mean, literally, how can you rest if you like are afraid you're not going to wake up?
Well, and even if you are diagnosed with it, there's no cure. There's nothing
Sure. Sure,
there's
sure,
really
sure.
nothing you can do. All you can do is reduce your risk factors,
Mhm.
which there are these like implantable defibrillators that could shock you back to life. But are a lot of 20-year-old males looking for that? I don't
Right.
know.
Right.
There's also the suggestion of, again, avoiding these heavy meals so you don't throw off your, internal balance, to avoid alcohol, manage your stress. But if you have these,
Just knowing you have it would stress you out.
yes, yes,
You
and
might die
again,
in your sleep, but don't stress.
don't stress. You're fine. You're fine. It's like worrying about not worrying,
I guess the
right?
only the only maybe kind of good thing about this particular set of characteristics is the fact that it does affect younger people. And I know, at least when I was in my 20s, uh I wasn't scared of anything. In fact, if you had told me that at some point you're gonna die, Cynthia, I'd have been like, I don't think so. Probably not.
Probably not. It's true. Maybe this is more of a fear of mothers. Maybe this is more of a mother's fear. Like, if you are not home and you drink alcohol and you eat too much, you're gonna die tonight. Like,
I
get it,
mean,
get it
right?
together.
Right? I mean,
Get it
now
together.
I can totally be like freaked out. Like, finally, finally, everybody's home, everybody's in bed, everybody's safe. We're all under the same roof. We're tucked in for the night. Oh my gosh. Please don't let anybody die in their sleep. Like,
I
it
know, and
never
here,
ends for
like,
us.
And your Cynthia is at the author at the altar offering like nachos. Like, please don't let them be taken in their sleep.
Yes. Take me, I can resist.
Oh my gosh. Now, research is still ongoing, and it's now focusing on gene therapies and better diagnostics to prevent tragedies like these experienced over the last 100 years. And in 2025, even just this year, there are awareness campaigns in Asia that are trying to shift the society's perception of SUNDS from something out of folklore to something that could benefit from medical intervention.
Sure.
Because that's still bridging the gap of this is something you can actually be tested for. This is not something that the widow ghost comes and, sucks your soul out. But
Right.
if you've been taught that and that's part of your thinking for the last century, it's hard to like move that direction.
Sure,
And,
sure.
so there are a lot of, intervention again, we can't actually fix it, but we could let you know that you're more susceptible.
Sure.
And again, I will say, so we know this exists, but we're still not really sure how it works or why it happened. And as a matter of fact, there are even some debates that maybe this is not the reason for the sudden deaths. As a matter of fact, there are even rumors that these deaths may have been caused by exposure to Agent Orange in the Vietnam War. Now, evidence of this is currently anecdotal, but maybe it's a contributing factor that was never explored. And I'm not generally a conspiracy theory, but do I think that things can get covered up and swept under the rug, even here in the US? Yes, I do. So,
Well, and we know that those exposure to those kind of chemicals and things like that, I mean, there's no question as to, the horrible effects they can have. So,
right.
I wouldn't rule that out.
So, I mean, maybe Brugada syndrome was responsible for some of them, but was it responsible for all of them? I don't know. We'll never know. Like, we'll never
Right.
know. We're never going to be able to go back and test. And even the people that are dying under these strange circumstances now, there's no definitive test either.
Right. Right. And here's the thing, if they weren't all from a certain area of the world, if they weren't all within a certain period of time, and a few other of those like similarities, I would just say, well, sometimes people die and you can't really figure out why. Like sometimes, you know what I mean? Like sometimes people just die and
Well,
we
like in the
can't
cases
really
of
say
SIDS.
why.
Yeah, like SIDS. We
Exactly.
don't really understand it.
Right. SIDS is like when an infant dies and they can't really figure out what happened. The baby just didn't live.
Yeah, so sudden infant death syndrome.
Right. Right.
Very similar. Yeah.
Right. So I would say that could just be the answer. But this isn't people all over the world. This is one little group of people. And then within a 4-hour time period, that is so weird to me. And it's not just, it would feel different to me if it was adults, men and women, children, like this is just, they have so many similarities that obviously something is going on. So all that to say, yes, I'm with you. It's weird. How weird.
Yeah. Now, while this tragic tale does end up producing one of the more terrorizing movies of all time, I don't know. My takeaway from this is that the real horror is realizing the cost of war and genocide and hate. Because think about it. If what we know to be true, so literally PTSD could literally manifest itself as fatal heart arrhythmias.
Yeah.
Like literally scared to death.
Right.
Having these shadowy figures come after you because of the horrors that you've seen. And then because of the stress of that, your heart literally has an electric malfunction and you die.
Right.
How horrible is that? How truly horrible and terrifying and all of the things. To this day, sudden unexplained nocturnal death syndrome is still called the 100 years enigma in medical literature because we think we know, but for 100 years, we had no idea what it was. It was just killing young men who reported having horrible nightmares before their passing. And so now that you know, you can clearly see how Wes Craven said, yeah, like
Oh,
this is
yeah.
it. So that is how A Nightmare on Elm Street was born.
Wow. Okay, now I want to watch it again because it's been several years. So now I want to watch it again, and with that with that in mind as the
Yeah.
inspiration.
Obviously loosely based,
Luke.
but the fact that it's based on any, I just never dreamed it would be anything actually rooted in real events, but it
No.
absolutely is. And if you're in this high risk group, I imagine it's still pretty terrifying.
Sure. Yeah, gosh.
Now, they're not seeing as many deaths as a result of it, obviously because of some genetic screening, but also because there isn't this large PTSD component of it, which
Right.
again, I imagine that creates a fair amount of stress. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. Um, but yeah, so that's what we got for today.
All right. That's scary. Out of curiosity, what is your favorite? I know your favorite scary movie. Do you have a favorite like slasher horror? Like old school classics. So like the old school such as
I
like the Freddy
I don't
Krueger.
know I don't know that I like any of those. I will say, I mean, it's really cliche, but I like Scream.
Oh yeah.
I
Well, that's
just Scream. And that's not like a total like old school like slasher, but that counts, right?
it was the first one I ever saw because that came out when
Yes.
we were in ninth grade.
Yeah.
And, it was like the first kind of slasher. And it was like new and fresh for its time. That was like a fresh idea um
Yeah.
at the time, that whole like meta thing. So I always liked I Know What You Did Last Summer, and Andy and I just watched the remake of it too. So we
Oh, what
watched
did you
the
think
original
about it?
one and then we watched the remake, which is technically considered a sequel from it's like there's the first I Know What You Did and then the second I Know What You Did, and technically this one comes like 30 years after, but it's pretty much a remake of the original even though it's a
Mm,
sequel. But it was fun. It was fun.
okay. Well, maybe
Yeah.
I'll divulge in some of that because after we record today, I'm going back to bed.
Yes.
So maybe I don't know. Maybe I'll binge a few of those. That
Oh,
sounds
yeah.
fun.
I'll give you a list. We've been watching we always do in October. So,
Oh, please
we've
do
been
send me
watching
a
a lot of
list.
fun of just have you watched the Ed Gein thing yet?
I got 15 minutes into it and was like, not for me.
I knew. I knew. I knew. I felt kind of bad when I was like, "No, don't watch it," because I was like, maybe she'd like it, but I know what you
No.
don't like, and I knew it wasn't for you.
It's just too dark for me. It was
Yeah.
just too gritty.
Yeah.
I'm not squeamish, but there are just certain things that I'm like, I know these are going to have mental images for me, or my brain is going to get stuck on it and it's
Yeah.
going to be in a loop. And I just choose not to like indulge in that because I've just found it's just not good for me.
Yeah.
So yeah, I tried and then said, no, I'm going to leave that where it
Yeah.
is.
Good
I'll just
choice.
let Cynthia tell me the high parts.
I did. The acting. The acting was incredible.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, anyway, yeah, I may have even mentioned this last year, but Barton and I, so he does not enjoy any scary movies or suspense movies or slasher movies. I don't know. It's just not his thing, which is
Right.
totally fine. But we do have one movie that we watch every year, and he actually enjoys watching it, but it's Johnny Depp's Sleepy Hollow.
We just watched it.
And it's just oddball enough
Mhm.
that it works for us.
Yeah.
And it's not really scary, but it's kind of scary, and it's got all
Yeah.
those great Halloween images that you love.
Yeah.
So that's the one that we always watch together. And this year, I think I may let the kids watch it with us. I
Oh,
don't know that there's
really?
anything. I
It's
think I
pretty
might.
gory. I mean, it's a Tim Burton gore, so it's, like, cartoony. But
Well, that's
we
kind of
just
what I
watched it.
figured.
Yeah, we just watched it again, and I was like, "Oh, there's a lot of decapitation in this movie."
Yeah, but like my kids have watched all the Jurassic Park movies. And that's like
Oh,
people
see,
actually
to me
getting
that
like
I don't like decapitation, to be honest. So, like, actually, the secret.
The whole like the whole headless horseman thing, it
I
gets to
actually
you.
that one's kind of hard for me to watch, which is
Oh, that's
funny.
funny.
Yeah,
It's
no,
funny.
I don't do like Sweeney Todd. Sweeney Todd is one of my favorite musicals ever. I love it. And I've seen the movie once and I can't watch it because I don't like the whole like if I believed in past lives, I would say that I was either beheaded or I had my throat slit because I don't like it.
You would
I
prefer to
don't
keep your
believe.
head.
Yeah.
I think that's a common. I think that's probably a common feeling among most people, though, Cynthia.
No,
I
but
don't.
like that's the kind of slasher stuff I don't like. I'll watch a slasher, I'll watch an autopsy, I'll watch all this thing, but you slit one throat in a movie and I cannot watch. Like
You're done. You're done.
I almost feel it. I almost feel it when I watch it. So all that to say, for me, the Headless Horseman, that's actually kind of a hard watch.
Oh, interesting. No,
Mm-hmm.
I think they'd probably be okay with it. Also, I mean, you know what we do. My kids are surfacely always exposed to slightly more macabre,
Oh
strange
yeah,
themes than the
they'll
of
be
kids
fine.
out there.
Yeah,
So
your kids will be fine.
I think they'll be fine. At least my oldest. I don't know about my younger. I may ask him. You know, he is very wise. Like I'll basically tell him some of the things that happen and he'll tell me whether he chooses to watch it or not. And sometimes he'll say,
Okay.
"You know what? I'm going to wait till I'm a little older." And
Okay.
I'm like, "Okay, like I totally respect that." So, that's kind of nice. That's a
Oh
nice
yeah.
attribute.
Yeah. He knows
Yeah.
himself. Love
Be
it.
very self-aware and to not be, upset by that. You
Right.
know, like, 'cause of course his older brother's like, "Oh, you're such a baby." And
Just
he's
a
like, "No, I just don't
baby.
wanna watch that right now." Yeah. He's like, no, I just don't wanna watch that right now. So, I don't care. Say whatever
I
you
love
want."
it. I love it.
Yeah. I'm like,
Good for
"Get
him.
after it." Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, we gotta cover Branch of Hope really quick,
Yes, yes.
um, before we get
It's
off
a
of here.
good
So
one.
yeah, we'll go over very briefly. So, my family is on a journey of foster care. The girls I were caring for are now back with their mother. We're taking a few weeks off until we take in another placement. But one of the things that we realized in our journey is that there are fantastic programs across the country that make handmade quilts for children entering foster care. And this is just the sweetest, nicest, most touching mission. It really is, and I've seen it with my own eyes, how those children, their eyes just light up that someone made something special for them. And many kids entering foster care have literally nothing. And so to have something that's their own that they can take with them in their journey is just so touching. So we are sponsoring an organization called A Blanket of My Own, which is one of many organizations that helps make blankets for children entering foster care. So your contribution through your subscription to our Patreon is going to go to buy materials so that these very kind community members can quilt these amazing blankets. So they take their time. That's their contribution. They take their time to quilt these blankets, and then they are given to children entering foster homes. And it's super rewarding. And I'm so grateful that we were able to sponsor them this month.
Yes. Beautiful, beautiful. I love it. You said it all.
Yeah. So
Amazing.
there we go. Again, be part of our Patreon. You get to sponsor this amazing nonprofit. You also get entered in a drawing and you get double content this month. We also have afterthoughts. So after every episode, we record anywhere from 10 to 20, maybe even 25 minutes of just our thoughts on the case. Literally our afterthoughts, completely unscripted, us just flying off the cuff of things that we think were interesting, things that we think are possible theories, sometimes about random personal stuff. Who knows what you're going to get? But we have afterthoughts and we post those every single week after the episode. So if you're a Patreon member, you get exclusive connection with those special afterthoughts as well.
That's right. We had a listener write in with some proposed names. So when we do our afterthoughts in a minute, I will I'll let you know what he proposed
Oh,
for
I love
some
it.
names because we were saying we need to call that something cute. So he came up with some
Yeah,
like cute names. So
I love that. I
yeah,
love that. Okay, Guys, we love you. Have a wonderful, safe Halloween if you celebrate, or trunk or treat, or whatever it is, fall festival, whatever it is that your family does. We hope you celebrate in a way that brings you closer and, closer to each other as a family, and then also your community. And again, we appreciate you being a part of our community as well.
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.